Hello and welcome. It's good to have you as we reach the top of the hour and open up today's informational overview webinar on this upcoming MIT xPRO course. This is a professional certificate, so a long order comprehensive program that's going to take you end to end and give you that knowledge that you need in advanced project management. So as we make our way through this next hour together here today, we're going to be touching on two key areas here of this program, this professional certificate in advanced project management. Firstly, we're going to be learning all about the content of this program. So what is that curriculum? What are you going to be learning? What are you going to take away from this program in terms of those learning objectives? The other component we're going to be discussing here today is how is that learning delivered? So what is that day-to-day aspect of being a participant in this program? What does it feel like? And what can you expect out of the learning experience? So certainly a lot in store here together. The other folks to introduce here today are our keynote speakers, our two co-faculty who designed this program, sort of the writers of the program are here to tell us all about it. So very pleased and honored to be joined firstly here by Professor Stephen Eppinger. He's a General Motors leader for global operations, as well as a professor of management science and innovation. Professor Eppinger, would you like to jump in and say hello here today?
Thank you. Yes, hello. I'm here, everyone, and I'm delighted that you're all here to learn about this upcoming program. This is an amazing program to bring you to the next level in your career, and I'm looking forward to teaching you.
Thank you so much, Professor Eppinger, for being here. You're going to hear a lot more from him in just a moment. He's joined by his co-faculty colleague, Brian Moser. Dr. Moser is the academic director and senior lecturer in system design and management. Dr. Moser, would you like to jump in and say hello as well today?
Sure. Hi, everybody. It's a real privilege to talk with you today. I'm super excited to share what Steve and I have been working on for some time. And one thing about me is that I only returned to academia in the last 6-7 years or so. And so like many of you, I had to think about mid-career education. So I look forward to sharing that with you. Thanks.
Thank you as well, Dr. Moser. As you can see, a lot in store here as we hear from both of our course faculty about the design of this program. I'm going to hand over the spotlight here in just a moment to our course professors. But before we do that, we wanted to help set the stage further for you. I know many of you are here to determine if this is the right program for you. And I see some of you sharing a little bit about your circumstance here in the chat. You're letting us know a little bit about the work that you do, the industry area that you represent. So you're here to determine the answer to this question: is this the right program for me? And we want to draw your attention to a couple of those high level areas that we had in mind when we designed the program. But we also want to let you know that we're joined here today by a team of program advisors. They are in the back end of today's session, helping to support the session by getting your questions answered. So if you do have any questions related to program fit, your circumstance, some of the credentials, tools, technologies, any of those types of questions, put those in the question box. We're going to be getting those answered throughout our time together today. But as you think of this broader question, who is this program designed for? Really anyone who's aspiring to gain this understanding of project management within technology development and production. So this is going to give you those skills to lead teams, manage complex technical projects, and deliver results at work right away. And so we'll talk here in just a moment about the way this program has been designed to help you apply your learning in real time. But as you think about your area of focus here, you might be a mid-level project manager looking to formalize your training and really gain those advanced project management skills. So you're going to be able to gain that understanding of some of those methodologies that will help you to move through the 5 stages of a project life cycle. You'll gain exposure to concepts such as Agile, Scrum. We're going to hear more about that here later today in the session. But really get those insights that you need in order to drive innovation, to drive efficiencies within your organization. You might just be starting out in a technical profession or a technical adjunct profession, and you want to gain that project management experience. You want those hands-on skills. This program is going to give you that focus as well. And then finally, if you're an engineer or you're changing careers entirely and you're looking to gain that project management experience that's really going to help you step into this career track. This program is designed for you. So a big career focus built into the learning experience. We're going to share that as well a bit later on, but both in terms of the assignments within the program, as well as some of those optional exercises are geared towards really helping you think about springboarding into various career advancement opportunities. So a lot in store here for you as you think about this program, who it was designed for, but certainly keep those questions coming in as we make our way through. The program is delivered by MIT xPRO. So what sets this learning experience apart? One of the things that we're doing here at MIT xPRO is really breaking down some of those barriers to the incredible wealth of knowledge that's housed within MIT faculties and bringing that to all of you. And that's one of the missions here, the call to action at MIT xPRO is to take the content from world-renowned experts in order to make learning accessible anytime, anywhere. And that's what we have here today, a rigorous, well-designed program that's been designed around what we know works well in the neuroscience of adult development. So we're thinking about what does an online learning experience look like? What do we know about the research of neuroscience and adult learning? And how can we build a program that's application focused, really helping you to build those skills on the job? So again, there's that career mindset there, really helping you to take the skills that you're learning, apply them in real time as you learn, while you're sort of learning alongside your professional roles. So that's how we've designed the course here. A lot of opportunity in the job market if you're looking to break into this career. You can see 25 million project manager jobs are going to be needed between now and 2030. This is an expanding industry. Certainly here at MIT xPRO, they are voted #1 by US News World and Report, #1 institution for project management. So as you're thinking about learning technical project management, there's no better place than here to gain this understanding that you need in order to set yourself apart in the job market. And that job market has a lot of opportunity, as you can see here. So certainly a lot in store for you as you think about some of those returns on your investment in this program, really gaining those skills that you need. A big part of what you're going to be doing here in the program as well is learning from faculty and learning from your peers. So we're going to give you a taste of what that's like here by handing over that spotlight to our professors. And with that, I now warmly invite into the spotlight our two keynote professors. We're going to start here with Dr. Moser to introduce a little bit more about yourself and begin our program overview. Thanks again for being here. Over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Marie. As mentioned before, I returned to academia, to MIT now about 7 or 8 years ago, but I spent a career in industry. First as a computer scientist, that's how I'm trained, but always applied in technical projects, in new product development, in engineering and manufacturing. And along the way, so I was applying problem solving, thinking about computation, but it's not the algorithm, it's not the math, it's not the software, it was really the people that became interesting. How is it that I saw time and time again, as projects were more complicated, more globally distributed, more challenging, how is it that sometimes a project team is spectacular, right? It's a great experience, morale is high, and the outcomes are really great. And other times, as we also experience, maybe more often than not, it does not work out, right? It's difficult. We miss deadlines. So I became really curious about this and went back for a doctorate after undergrad at MIT a little bit later. But through that 25 years in industry, that really has been my focus. How to understand problem solving, not purely as a technical, mathematical, computational thing, but as a human, social, and collective capability. And that's what led me, funny thing, in the end, to project management. And so in that time, before I returned to MIT, I've spent countless years as part of PMI and PMAJ in Japan and other institutions really thinking about the profession of project management, which is why I became so excited to come back to MIT and to have a chance to teach with people like Steve and others here, and to invest in what I think is the next generation of education on project management. So I'm really excited to work with you all. Thanks.
Okay, I'll go next. Hello, everyone. So I'm a professor in the MIT Sloan School of Management. And the key thing that I do on the faculty at MIT is I connect our business school, our Sloan School of Management, to our engineering school, because I have a background in engineering, actually from MIT. And some of the kinds of activities and programs that I'm involved in include the one where Brian teaches with me called System Design and Management. And this is a program for technical professionals who want to up their game in terms of being technical leaders across a whole range of technical industries, many of the kinds of companies from where you all come. And we'll have people in this program speaking with us about these technical challenges. My time at MIT has been spent in both research and teaching related to engineering management. My teaching revolves around subjects like product design and product development, also engineering project leadership and product management. And so I teach courses for master's students like in our MBA and other master's programs across MIT, as well as for executive programs, both online and on-campus executive education programs. My research deals mostly with complex system development projects. And so I worked a lot with automotive industry, aerospace industry, electronics industry, energy industry, telecom, consumer products, medical devices, things like that. So a whole range of technical industries. And that's where I built up this expertise around complex system project management. I pioneered the advancement of a method that I'll teach you about in one of the later modules of this course called Design Structure Matrix. I've written a book about that that revolves around my research. Some of you, if you studied engineering, may have used my textbook in your undergraduate or master's. I've written a very widely used textbook called Product Design and Development, which is about engineered products, consumer products primarily. It's used all around the world. So I welcome you back if you've already learned some special things from me in either of those realms. And again, I'm delighted to have you all with us for this program, and I'm very much looking forward to teaching for you. Now, I'd like to cover at the high level, what are we all about here? The key thing is, technical projects are different. We could talk about project management in a very generic way, and projects are made up of tasks, and tasks are done by people, and that sort of thing. But rather than talking about all kinds of projects, we're going to particularly talk about projects that involve technical tasks, involve technical people, working with a whole range of other types of people. So a lot of engineering examples in the kinds of projects that we're talking about. We'll execute this course in 3 big sections. We actually think of it as 3 courses that cover the whole range of advanced project management. The first part of this certificate program consists of a course with 6 modules that Brian teaches, and it's around project management fundamentals, the basics of projects, how they work, how they're structured, what are their goals, what are the types of project structures that are commonly used today. How do we run those projects? How do we control them? How do we evaluate them? And what is your role as a project manager and indeed as a project leader? The second part of this program is a course that I teach, again, consisting of 6 modules. So it'll consume several weeks of your time. And it's about agile project management. So agile, as you probably know, has revolutionized the way software is developed today. So you probably have heard about agile project management related to software. And we'll take a little broader view of agile to say, well, it's not just for software, even though it started there. But the agile techniques apply to all kinds of projects, but they need some adjustments. And so we'll talk extensively about how agile works, what are the types of adjustments that can be made. So that's in the second. And then the third module is a bit more about advanced project management. And we'll talk about project leadership, project control, how do you kind of deal with complexity and uncertainty in projects. So we'll leave you with some really good thoughts on how does your career evolve toward project leadership over some time. So that's a high level overview of what we're going to do. And now we'll tell you how we'll deliver some of that.
Thank you, both of our professors, for introducing yourself and setting the stage here for this program. We're going to start off, like you said, here, Professor Eppinger, with across this program schedule. This is a long program here. Certainly a lot in store for you as you make your way across this program. We're estimating that 10 to 15 hours per week will be devoted here to the program. So we wanted to give you that right up front, that understanding of kind of the time commitment from week to week. This is a breakdown here on your screen of what you can expect in terms of the actual hour breakdown. So if you're trying to gain that understanding here, about an hour of group discussion with peers, to engage with ideas. You're going to have about 2 hours per week of watching on-demand videos. These are videos you can watch in real time, sort of on your own time around a schedule that works for you, as many times as you need to here. These are the video lectures with faculty that describe the methodologies, the tools that you'll be using. So those are on demand and available throughout your time. It takes you about 2 hours per week for those video lessons. 4 hours of an interaction with program learning facilitators. So in addition to your peers and in addition to your faculty, you'll have learning facilitators in the program. These are experts who've come in, technical project management experts who've come into this program. They serve as sort of your teaching fellow, if you will, really at the helm of your day-to-day learning. They're on the discussion boards with you and your peers, helping to push your thinking and drive engagement, generate ideas and interaction. They're giving you individualized feedback on all of your assignments and projects. We're going to talk about some of those here in just a little while, but your learning facilitators are right there helping you with your assignments, giving you that feedback. They host weekly office hours. These are a chance for you to turn on your video, turn on your audio, engage live in discussions with your peers and teaching teams. So a lot of opportunity there for you to engage with those learning facilitators. About 4 hours of self-study and practice exercises where you're going to be diving in, rolling up your sleeves, sort of in this immersive learning environment and really applying what you're learning in real time. And then about 5 hours of a graded assignment. So there are rigorous assignments throughout the program here. And as you make your way through those assignments, you'll be wanting to spend about 5 hours a week really detailing out how to apply and reinforce the lecture material that you're learning. So that makes up that 10 to 15 hour window here. There's some flexibility from week to week, but that gives you that overall snapshot. But you can see we start out the program with what we call week 0. Week 0 is an entire week of orientation. So as you're thinking about your course schedule, some of these other logistical and course policy questions you might have, you're going to have that entire week to get to know the course, get to know the program at that detailed, granular level. You're also going to have time that week to get to know your peers, introduce yourself, build your profile, learn about that platform that we've developed here that's delivering all of this content. So you'll get to navigate the site, download the app, get yourself set up for any learning on the go that you'd like to do from a mobile device or a tablet. All of our material is available on the go as well. So you'll have that entire week to get to know your teaching team and your peers, build out your profile, get that understanding of the content, get your schedule situated, and get ready for learning. So we're going to set you off right here at the beginning with that chance to get oriented. And then from there, we'll go through these 3 sections or these 3 parts of the program. And I think for that, we're going to start off here with Dr. Moser by inviting you to come in and tell us about this first section here of the program.
Thank you, Marie. And this first section I'm really excited to share with you is called Project Management Fundamentals. And there are 6 modules. And these fundamentals are true across industries, across various kinds of projects, and even across conventions. So if you may be familiar with Prince 2 standards or PMI standards or PMAJ standards or IPMA, there's and Scrum and Scaled Apps, there's these different ways that people think about organizing projects. Well, there's some fundamentals some principles that are true when we've got teams of people and work that has to get done. And so we'll cover those. And these fundamentals will be helpful to you no matter what industry you're in. The interesting thing, as Steve said earlier, that about technical projects is they're more complicated, even more complex. But often the product or the service that we're delivering, that we're trying to develop and deliver, is typically unique. The whole reason we're doing it in the first place is because it's different, right? And because of that, given the project we're working on, there might be something that is useful to be different about it. That's why when we go to different companies, different industries, we see project conventions and styles that are quite heterogeneous. So in this first section, we'll talk about not only some of these fundamentals of work and teamwork, but also we'll take a look at different styles, including waterfall, flow-based and location-based techniques used in construction. We'll talk about set-based approaches, which you may not be familiar with, spiral, and even a light introduction to Agile. And the reason we do so is because as a project, not only a manager, but project leader, part of what our role is to not just follow a fixed process or follow convention, but really to lead others in the design of projects. How is it that, given what we're working on, how might we do things differently? How might we do things differently to take advantage? And also, when things are going wrong, how might we adjust? So that's section 1, project management fundamentals, and that's a setup, I think, to what Steve takes next in section 2. We wove in real-world case studies and professionals and project leaders throughout these modules. And what we've done is make sure that we have mid-career, experienced folks we know who have leadership experience. That means they've been through difficult and great projects. And each week I'll have a conversation with one or two of them about their own development and their own perspectives on being a project leader.
All right, in the second part of the program, which we call course 2 or section 2, this is all about Agile project management. And as I said earlier, you're probably familiar with what's known as Agile software development. Even if you've never worked on a software project, the terminology around Agile is becoming pretty well known today. But for the most part, it's known to apply to developing software products. And what I'm going to do in the second part of this program is 6 modules about how do you apply Agile outside the realm of software. If you specifically want to learn about Agile software development, there are dozens of courses on that. This is one of the few courses in the world today that's talking about how do we apply in every other realm of advanced project management. So in particular, you've heard of terms like Scrum Master and Product Owner and daily meetings and sprints and backlogs and all of these Agile techniques. I will explain how they work and how they fit together. The fundamental organizing sort of principle of the process in Agile is what we call a time-boxed sprint. So what are the events that make up each sprint? Why is it so powerful to have sprints be so short? They're typically 1 to 4 weeks long. How does that build continuous improvement and team processes that teams can get really very, very good at executing them to make progress in every sprint? So we'll talk about how do we lay out the sprints? How do we run all of those sprint events? What are the different roles, Scrum Master and Product Owner being the 2 key team leadership roles? How do you execute those roles so that you could step right into either one of those roles right out of this course? My favorite part of the sprint is what happens at the end, what we call a demo, a review, and a retrospective, the last 3 events of every sprint. And that lets us really see progress every week or every 3 weeks, whatever the sprint cadence might be. And then toward the end of this part of the program, we'll talk about how do you lead Agile projects? What is your role as a leader, and how do we make transitions from maybe some legacy processes to Agile ones? And just as we do, and we'll do this in every part of the program, we'll have some guests. So we have several guests who are coming in for this part. Maria, if we can go to the next slide, there we go. So what I've done here is I brought in several different speakers who can tell us about the different roles. So we have one who's a super experienced Scrum Master, one who's been a product owner and trains product owners and can teach us about what are some of the nuances of how we take on that role. Someone to talk about agile transformation. How do we take an organization that's not operating using agile project management techniques and transition to that? And someone to talk about how do we coach the various roles through this? So a number of different perspectives from different industries. These are some folks that I've worked with in various contexts, and they really add a nice element to this part of the program. So now I'd like to talk to you about the third part of this certificate program, which we call project leadership. So the third section is really the last 6 modules are about some of the more advanced techniques. So if you have some greater depth of project management experience, some of this might be somewhat familiar to you, but everybody can learn from it. So we'll be talking about how do we deal with some of the hard parts in projects. So in particular, uncertainty. You know, if the work to be done and the way to execute the work and the time it's going to take place is all pretty precisely known, this is quite easy. But in the real world, there's uncertainty around that. There's variance around that. And we've got to make adjustments along the way. So how do we deal with that? How do we make some of the difficult trade-offs and choices around that? And there are some techniques that will help us with this. There are techniques that involve modeling and simulation. There are techniques that involve networks and mapping. There are techniques that involve making adjustments on the fly. So we'll teach you some of these various techniques, and you may have heard of some of them already. So one is called dependency structure matrix or design structure matrix modeling, or DSM. It's one that I've done a lot of work on in my own research. So I'll bring that into the program and teach you how to use this advanced project management method. Some are pretty well known, like critical chain, which is a kind of a twist on the traditional critical path method that allows us to make adjustments to projects, timing, and assignments as things change throughout the duration of a project. We'll talk about scaling Agile to very large projects that involve many Agile teams interacting together. That's called scaled Agile. There's some very particular techniques around that, and I'll distill that down into some principles we can learn from. And toward the very end, we'll talk about some of the nuances of project leadership. And this will get fairly personal. How do you act as a leader? How do you show up for your team? How do people want you to show up? What does the job need? And are you well suited to that? Or do you need to work really hard to make sure that you can show up in the way that the project demands? So we'll talk about how do you make some changes in your leadership style and how do you grow as a leader? So this is a really important part of the certificate program that I think you won't normally get in most other kinds of project management courses that are out there. So some of the advanced techniques, state-of-the-art techniques, and leadership methods. We also have some guests here who will add some color to our conversation around this. So some very experienced project managers in some really interesting industries, from medical devices and products to consumer products to industrial products, sharing some different, their own perspectives and really how do they take on some of these leadership challenges. So I'm really excited about this part of the program as well. This third course will be taught jointly by Brian Moser and me, and we'll bring in these various guests. So Brian, you're going to talk a little bit about.
Sure, yeah. Let me mention, I mean, one thing that's really essential to the way we've designed these courses is that it's for experienced professionals. So if we were teaching this to first-year undergrads, we would take a different approach. The fact that you're already experienced in the middle of a career is a large advantage. First of all, you bring much to the table, and there's something else we understand too, and this is part of MIT's tradition, is we often learn very well by doing, right? Not just on paper. So there are 3 projects that are part of the work in this in these 3 sections. In section 1, which again is fundamentals of project management, we'll ask you to create a project plan, which is really a design of a project, but leveraging some of the principles and multiple methods, frameworks that you've seen in section 1. So not just simply following a fixed waterfall or agile, but thinking about mixing it up, thinking about why does a combination of these methods make sense and how the plan is now designed. In section 2, we'll ask you to do the same thing, but now think about this as an agile approach. And in both of these cases, we're not going to hand you a mythical project to work on. We're going to ask you to bring a project that is relevant to you. And that both, I think, improves meaningfulness of the learning, and obviously we're trying to leverage your own experience. Now, the final capstone project is then to apply a number of the principles and methods and tools that we've studied together over all 3 sections. And this is where it's not simply building a plan or designing the project, but understanding, as Steve was saying, what does this mean about how we're going to lead the project? I'm not simply investing in a Gantt chart. I'm thinking about, who do we need to be and who do I need to be for this technical program to be successful? And one thing that we're excited about is facilitators, and Steve and I will be involved in reviewing those capstones in the sessions. Steve, do you have any other comments on these projects?
Yeah, I just like to add that this may seem daunting because maybe you don't feel like you're ready to do any of these assignments just yet. But the way we teach the program is, we're first going to show you how to do it. We're going to give you the theory, and we're going to show you many examples. Here's how this applies in a medical project. Here's how this applies in a construction project. Here's how this applies in a semiconductor project, and so forth. So we'll show you how to do these things, and you'll be ready. You'll be able to apply it to project context of your own experience. Might be something you're working on now this year in your current job. Might be something from earlier in your career. Maybe it's even something aspirational, something you're interested in thinking about, dreaming about, or starting up in the future. So this is going to be a great opportunity for you to really solidify the learning in your own life.
Just wanted to point out here, and I apologize if I missed this being brought to the attention of our audience yet, but that last line there about this capstone project, it's such a big asset here, and it's such a big part of the program, is really being able to choose that project that you're going to devote your time towards. But this other piece of it, so the faculty here are going to be giving their feedback on the top exemplary capstone projects during a live session. So it's a really exciting opportunity for you to develop a great capstone project that's a culmination of your learning that you can showcase as a project on your LinkedIn or in the job market. Certainly a lot there for you. But for those of you who are really devoting your energies towards this, you'll have that opportunity to sort of win this contest where you'll get that direct feedback from your course professor. So it's a huge opportunity here too. I wanted to make sure we drew that to light. But as we make our way through the learning experience a bit further, Professor Eppinger, back over to you and Dr. Moser to tell us more about these industry examples that we'll be drawing on in the program.
Yeah, so each of us works with 5 or 10 different companies a year. So between us, we work with a couple of hundred different organizations in the kind of technical project space. And so we've chosen examples that, that come from our own background and experience in working on, whether it's a research project, a consulting project, maybe some kind of student projects, or even some famous projects in the world that, like Empire State Building obviously predates us. We can bring these in such a way that you can learn from them. So they cover a range of industries. not necessarily your specific current challenge today, but we'll teach these in such a way that you can learn from every one of them. And this adds some really nice dimensions to the teaching experience. Brian, you want to cover the?
Sure. Yeah. No. And and along the way, as he was saying, and in a way that, by the way, Emeritus and xPRO, kind of the magic they apply to making these courses something that you can take a step at a time, very well supported. This is and based on the science of learning, it's a real advance. I have to be honest, to be compared to when we were all younger students and just sat in a lecture hall listening. So you'll be exposed to and get hands-on with a lot of methods and tools and resources across the program. So you may have heard these words or been familiar with them. You're going to leave these courses ready on a real-world program to apply these methods, and more importantly, to understand how to select from a broad toolkit of possible methods and to use them appropriately. So back to you, Marie.
Thank you, Dr. Moser. Certainly a lot in store here across the learning experience. We're going to dive a little bit more deeply into some of those sort of tactical components here in the program. I'm going to spend about 5 minutes covering the learning experience, and then we're going to open back up. But with that, let's go ahead and dive into the learning experience here. What can you expect in the day-to-day? And we've touched on this some. We've heard our faculty here today touch on it some as well. But overall, here's that broad scope here. It's a 45 hours of pre-recorded video content throughout the entire program, 5 hours or more of live mentorship and career support, 8 hours of optional career development activities, 19 career development video lectures covering 30 different career topics. So that gives you that broadened scope there. Here are some of those highlights. You're going to gain those insights, as you can see here on the program webinar, directly from MIT faculty and guest speakers. You'll have those learning facilitators there, helping to guide your learning, give you that individualized feedback on your assignments, and host those office hours, that chance for you to come in and take part in those real life discussions. So as you think about your learning, you're not only making those practical applications that we've described, where your assignments are in your capstone project, they're really geared towards helping you to bring your learning to life. Not a highly theoretical course, but one really aimed around real world application. But in addition to that real world application here, you have an opportunity to build relationships throughout your time in this program. And you have many different layers of community relationships that are happening as part of this learning ecosystem. You have your peers, who we talk a lot about. You're going to be able to see how your learning applies in your work, in your professional role, your industry, your geography. But that peer-to-peer learning that we've built into the design of the program gives you that broadened scope of understanding, that sort of tapestry of ideas as you see these themes and concepts and methodologies coming to life in other projects and other industry areas. So it gives you that really broadened scope of understanding and enhances your overall learning. And of course, those discussions, particularly as you're designing ideas and thinking through solutions, are going to be a vital part of your learning. This is a reciprocal learning environment, so you're contributing your knowledge, your insights to your peers, to your cohort, as well as learning. So no two cohorts are alike, and it's certainly an opportunity for you to enhance your skills, but also build those professional networks and those professional relationships. Not only with your peers, you also have your learning facilitators. Those are those teachers who are there every step of the way here. You have your program faculty coming in here for that live session support and really, those videos, those on-demand videos throughout the program, at the helm of your curriculum, having designed this comprehensive program here from their industry and research background and knowledge. And then that broader ecosystem we talked about at MIT xPRO, really setting the stage for advancements all across the globe. So for professionals to skill up on the job. So lots of different relationships that you're joining here as you join this community. The course itself culminates in a chance for you to earn a certificate of completion. So for those of you looking to springboard into career advancement opportunities, certainly having a certificate here from MIT xPRO is going to help formalize your training and showcase your knowledge here in this area of advanced project management. So you'll be able to put this on your LinkedIn. Again, bring it with you to your job interviews, showcase the commitment that you've had to taking part in this certificate bearing program here. So you have a chance to gain peers, learn from your peers, learn from a broader teaching team full of guest speakers, faculty, learning facilitators, this larger community at MIT xPRO that you're joining, and certainly a chance to formalize all of your learning. As you think about your career, not only do you have this broadened professional network, a certificate of completion, but you also have support all along the way here. We've talked about this a couple of times throughout our session, but the career support from your learning facilitators is a big part of what we wanted to provide for you in this program. Some of the learning exercises that you'll do include elements that are pretty general and broad, things like talking about what it is that you want to do, that elevator pitch, that sort of short blurb about what it is that you're looking for in the job market, optimizing your LinkedIn profile, resume, cover letters, navigating your job search, negotiating salary, tips for the interview process, all of that built into some of those optional activities. But you also have exercises built into the program itself that are geared towards advanced project management roles. So you'll be building your personal brand, promoting your skills, communicating across technical and non-technical teams, understanding the role of workflow, or I'm sorry, the roles and workflow of agile development. So really having an agile approach to your work, reflecting on your skills to know where to go next with your learning journey. So really understanding where you are and what the next step is in your learning, and then searching and interviewing efforts for advanced project manager position. So all of this really built within the core structure here of the program. So a lot in store here for you. We're going to go ahead and close out with our final slides here. A reminder that high level of support and relationship building in this program, we want that to begin right here, right now, with today's live session, with getting you connected to a program advisor. So we are joined live here by a team of program advisors. They're helping to answer questions. So they're the course foremost experts when it comes to a lot of the next steps that we'll be covering here. So one of the things you might be exploring are financing options. And as you can see, we've made available flexible and transparent financing options for our global audience here. There's also special group enrollment pricing, a referral program, other discounts, and other payment strategies that you might want to work through or explore with your program advisor. So that's one of the components they can help you with. They can also help you with your application materials, getting that course registration completed. And then finally, any of your logistical or course policy questions. So dates, times, scheduling, how do I earn that certificate of completion? What's the evaluative criteria for the program? Your advisors are going to be able to help walk you through all of those details. And so very important for you to get connected there with an advisor at this stage in your journey as you seek to prepare to begin this program, which starts just around the corner, coming up later this month. So certainly, I want to give you all the opportunity to get that one-on-one mentorship and guidance before leaving today's call. So how do you get connected with an advisor? There's a few different ways here. If you open up your chat box, you'll see at the very bottom of the chat box, we've posted a link there for you that you can click on that will take you over to the course landing page where you can learn more, download a course brochure, and get connected with a program advisor. So we invite you to take a look at that link there in your chat box. Go on over to the course website where you can both download the course brochure as well as schedule a one-on-one appointment with an advisor. We use an app called Calendly, so you'll be able to select a time that works best for you in your time zone to getting connected with one of the advisors we have live with us here today. We also have an email address there. That's mit@emeritus.org. You're welcome to use that email address if you prefer. You can just reply all and let us know, and we'll get you connected with some support. So a lot of opportunity here for you. So I'll invite back into the spotlight Dr. Moser, Professor Eppinger. So this question sort of about experience level, and I guess I can open this up to both of you, whoever wants to jump in with it, but what did you have in mind? Is there an ideal range of experience folks should have prior to coming into this program?
Yeah, I think the key thing is you need to have some actual project experience, some work experience to build on. And maybe project experience is maybe that's too specific. If you've worked on in any capacity in any project related, any technical development or delivery, and you can build on that experience. At a minimum of a couple of years, I'm sure we will have people with only 1 or 2 years of technical work experience. And I expect we'll also have people with 15 years of experience. But so it's kind of early to mid-career, but it's not pre-career. So this is not a program for people who are still in a college degree program and they haven't had any work experience. I think students of that type will have a very difficult time connecting the principles and the methods to real project work.
Yeah, I would echo that. You know, it's that having been part of projects. So we don't expect people to have led projects per se yet, although you may have, and you may be transitioning to a different kind of project or a different industry. But no matter what, the moment we're out trying to make a buck or be part of an organization, we're likely inherently a part of projects. So a big part of the reflection is thinking together about what works, what doesn't work, and why, and how can we craft a project to fit the situation. And I saw that there was one great question from Sharon, pardon me if I mispronounce your name, being a teacher. So I have a lot of empathy now for teachers more since I came back and started teaching. But no, there, you know, the project management experience of managing a population and managing curriculum and managing learning is certainly relevant.
And in terms of the capstone project here and about what makes that capstone project exemplary, and I know we touched on that some, you certainly have that contest you can be a part of as well, sort of, you know, pushing that project forward into the live faculty overview session at the end of the course. But maybe just more generally, Dr. Moser, maybe I
Sure.
think you may jump in on that one.
This is a kind of a good test of what we're looking for here. You know, I think very much this course is about making decisions and trade-offs in the kind of project that makes sense given the situation. So what would not be exemplary is if the project you propose is looks just like the last 10 projects you've done, and there's no sense of considering why would we do things differently. Of all these different techniques, parts of the project might be very agile. Parts of the project may need some hierarchy, and we might need to think about those parts differently. So, you know, what I look for is not only a single project plan, but an exploration of project approaches and a way of explaining why the design of the project you're proposing makes sense. So that's my perspective. I'm curious what Steve thinks.
Yeah, I think what we're looking for is a capstone project that's well executed. So, you know, your choice of a problem domain, your choice of methods to apply, and you could do that poorly or you could do it really well. So, you know, you might choose what we think, or maybe what turn out to be the wrong techniques, you know. So we'd like you to have enough understanding of the material to have the wisdom to choose carefully. And then just to do, you know, to kind of illustrate a good application of the methods that we can all learn from. And I'm going to just also say that not only the participants really find this kind of live session to wrap up the capstones valuable, but we as instructors really look forward to it as well. So it's a highlight for us too.
It's a great way to close out your time in the program as well. A very exciting sort of final session that folks get to have after spending so much time learning shoulder to shoulder with one another. So very cool way to end out the course as well.
Maria, I saw a question. I saw a question which is, what do you mean by technical? I mean, you know, does that mean IT? Does it mean, and you know, the reality is for most products, the product can be a service, product can be an artifact, a piece of metal. Often now software, you know, is involved and information's involved. So there's something about it being technical, which induces uncertainty and connectivity and the need for multiple teams or cross-functional teams to be involved. So yes, IT is one example of technical, but not only. And someone else asked earlier, is this relevant to construction or civil engineering? Absolutely. I mean, the whole hallmark of how our infrastructure and our buildings and our sites are changing is their degree of connectedness. And so how do we think about organizing not just the site or the building or the work, the scope, but how do we organize each other in order to attack it? So good question.
So with that, I am going to jump in here. We've reached the end of our queue here. If you have any final comments, messages, now's the time to put those across. We're gonna post that link for you once again here in the chat, so that you'll have that link over to the landing page. I may see your question about the peer interaction. Throughout the program, you do have those opportunities for peer interaction. It's a big part of your learning, a big part of what we know works well in this environment to really help you generate those ideas, talk through your plans, and build those relationships and broaden out your understanding. So that peer interaction is peppered throughout the sessions. You have live office hours. Those are a chance for you to go in with your learning facilitators, turn on your audio and your video and engage in live sessions with your peers and your teaching team. So you do have that opportunity. And for actual schedules, if you're asking, is it an hour per week? For that schedule of sessions, certainly get connected with an advisor. They're going to give you that layer of detail. So if you want to look ahead at your schedule and visualize your calendar, make sure you have those live sessions on it. Certainly get connected with an advisor. They can even send you those calendar holds in advance. So certainly that's a good next step for you there as you think about the logistics here. This program will have additional runs as well. So certainly we do plan additional runs, and as soon as that next date is released. So with that, I'd love to invite our professors in for any final words of wisdom, words of advice, comments as we close out in our final minutes together. Maybe we'll start with you, Professor Eppinger, and then we'll move over to you, Dr. Moser. But any final words that you'd like to leave us with here today?
Yeah, let me just say that this program is going to really help you in your career. Some of you have studied engineering, some of you have studied other kinds of backgrounds. Some of you will come from non-technical backgrounds, but are interacting with technical professionals all the time. But if you want to become a project manager or understand project processes, this is the way to do it. We're going to give you all the techniques, lots of examples, things you can learn from, and you will be able to apply this in your own professional work essentially right away. So I'm looking forward to having you all in the program. Thank you.
Steve had a chance for the words of wisdom, so I'll say something else. This is really exciting for a couple of reasons, but largely because this is actually a really great time to think about how to organize and design projects. The world's most interesting challenges, whether it's a new business, a nonprofit approach, the great challenges of this world are technical and require teams of teams to solve them. And so the world needs leaders who are going to understand the set of principles, methods, and tools that we teach in these classes. So it's a really great time to pick up these capabilities and be part of this next generation of solving great problems. So, and I look forward to working with you in the class.
Thank you to both of our professors here today for taking us through this content, for designing this program so thoughtfully, and for being here to tell us all about it. It's been an absolute honor learning from you both here today on the session. So thank you again for being here. For those of you who've joined in from across the globe to be here today, also an honor learning shoulder to shoulder with each and every one of you. This course begins just around the corner. We hope to see you in the program. Certainly get connected there with an advisor if you haven't done so already. For now, we will sign off with a heartfelt good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day to all of you from around the globe. Thank you again for joining, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.